Hey, Dave, not here at 123daytrade.com. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Today was Friday, August 10th, 2018. I sucked it up today. And I want to talk about the day and how I can maybe will be able to, I hate to say curve fit, but also I don't know where my practice account is. I'm asking them about that right now. So hopefully we'll find it. They do this occasionally, knock my practice account off, and then I have to go beg, barter, and steal to get it back again. So this is the combine, and usually you see the count below that's my practice account where I can keep on working on a day that gets me gets my goat, I guess. So here we go. 8 o'clock comes in, and then there's that. I'm going to just assume that we're in a tiebreaker because that's what we're in. We were in a tiebreaker scenario, and then we had this bar right here. So this bar comes printing in at 824. And so I'm not in the market at all yet. And then oh, by the way, today's ADR was 18.8, so 19 ticks. You see that reflected in a 3P target of 69. So that's what I set up for. And you know what I'm debating about is obviously the trailing stop. So, and where you should put the mark. Now I don't know if this is curve fitting or not, so you'll have to let me know. But if I count 19 ticks from the point, so for instance, this is usually that's 19 from entry point, or 18 or 20 from entry point, but so the trailing stop. But if I count it from here, and I know it's kind of on, I don't know if this is considered curve fitting or not, but I'll leave it to you guys and gals. So basically what I'm getting at is if I use this mark, this would have been 19 ticks. Now 19 ticks from entry point, unfortunately, bam, got hit right there. And I got 1 tick positive slippage on it. But it hits me, and then it goes its merry way down. And then I re-enter here, which usually what I need to think about is 1 entry per bar. That way maybe that'll keep me away from what I did today. So I entered here, got knocked out, entered here, got knocked out for a 3rd time, went down 47 ticks. So, and now obviously I can't trade anymore unless and if I do, I'll lose the combine here. And now I don't have a practice account, so I can't even F around. So, oh well. You can see I'm at 29,001. I've not made dollar in this particular combine, so I still got 28.5 as ultimate drawdown I can go to, and then actually, as long as I stay above it, I can keep on trading this combine. So ideally, I have 2 more full days of drawdown in the combine. Now, FTP and funded, you don't have that ability, but in the combine, you can draw under 28.5. So really don't want to get there, obviously, but it is what it is right now. And I had done pretty good up until, I don't know, maybe yesterday I gave a little bit too much back to the market. I gave 18 ticks to the market too many, and then I gave another 18 ticks too many today. Maybe more because of what I'm looking at. So basically what I'm getting at is I'm thinking about 1 entry per signal, and then for better or for worse, stay away from it because you know, now if I would have held this and then go back to here, this drop here, then you base it on this right here, this entry point, and you drop it down. So 48 was entry point, went 11 ticks my favor, so then I dropped this down 11 ticks, and then that would have been the exit point right here at 58. So 49, 48, 58, I guess, right? So 10 tick hit on this trade, and then you just stay away from it until volume kicks in again. And if you look at the market right now, it's been a chip chop saw you in half type of trading session. But if I would have laid off after that entry point and laid off of it, and then wait for volume to kick in. Now you can always look at this. If it would have kept falling and then you would have made 1p, maybe you'd have an entry point from 2 to 3, going 1 to 2, 2 to 3. But we never officially ran a 1p target today. From entry point, 1p was 67.25. And we got to 67.28. So we did not get a 1p. Let me just mark the charts here. So this is what I'm thinking of right now to help me stay away from trades that try to stay away from doing things that I just do in here. Take another one, and get knocked out quickly. This is what happens a lot of my particular funded account, trading accounts. When I'm more disciplined, so I like this entry point. This entry point was good. This was according to plan. First time that you get a short entry from the ability to take it, then you should take it. So this was the first time. Now I'll just show you what I'm talking about here. Oops, let me just blow this up here quickly. So the way I look at this is, so this bar prints, and I'm looking for that 1, 2, 3, and this was the first time that the market gave the ability to get in. So this would have been the mark that I was looking for the market to go this way. All the other entries didn't fill, so every time it'd go higher, it'd go higher, it'd go higher. This is the first time that we went lower, and we gave the ability to move into it, the trade itself. And then obviously it went up. Only went down by a tick or two. So maybe if the market, I'm thinking about this too, if the market only falls 1 tick after entry point, let's say 1 to 2 ticks from entry right away, so basically it just basically brings you in and then goes the other way, you pull it in quick, and then you look at, and then you need another entry point to come in. So basically you need another high volume bar sequence to come in before you start trading again. So that's the big question mark that I got going on right now. When I'm on, I'm on, and when I'm off, most of my off days happen because I try to get back in the trade itself. And when I do that, then that's what usually puts me in the losing column a lot of times. What the hell is that noise? So now you see that we have this bar up here. It's higher, and this would be your second sequence. Actually, hasn't been able to get in yet. But now you have a higher volume bar. This is kind of what I so now all of a sudden I took my shot here and it didn't work out. You got knocked out, and now you stand aside waiting for the market to make its decision. So what I'm going to do is pause this video, and then since I can't trade anymore, we'll mark the charts once I find an entry point, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. So bottom line, what I'm trying to do right now is get away from um, doing what I do right in here. That was the reason why I put the trailing stop in to start with, is to stop me from getting whipsawed in this little area here. So what I'm thinking right now is 1 entry per bar. That'll stop the over trading inside our range right now. That's the bottom line right now. So that way I give myself more chance to, and obviously I can still go down, 30, 40 ticks, but at least I give myself the opportunity to be able to try to catch this. So, especially when you don't run a 1P target on an entry point, there's got to be something that says, hey, wait a minute. What you think right now is not working correctly. Therefore, stand aside until you get a better opportunity, or it goes your way. All right, so we finally have a close above. Now we get the opportunity. Looks like 68 is the entry point if the market gets down here. So 68. So I'll pause for now, and if we get filled, I'll unpause, and then we'll figure out. So it'd be 19 ticks from 70 today. So that would make it, what, 80? You're back. Come tell us a story. Man, that took forever. You're back. So let's think about this. 70, 80, 89. So 89 would be the initial entry point, trailing stop based on today. 19 ticks is what we figured out. Of course, if it runs up here, then this entry point's no longer valid. So I'm going to pause and we'll keep looking. Okay, so neither one has been entered yet. This is fairly close to here, so we'll keep this entry point on the table. So if I would have held back on this one, I would have only had one trade and still waiting on my second trade. That's kind of where I'm trying to get with my entry point. Not kind of, it's where I want to be on my entry points. I want to all right, so this would be entry still. All right, so all right, in this would be trade 2, 71 or 70. It doesn't really make a difference. So 19 ticks from 70 puts it originally at 89. And now we've dropped 8 ticks right now. So that would mean it's 81. So this would have been trade number 2 if I would have been. So I guess what I'm trying to say here is I'm trying to get away from stuff like this. This is where I lose most when I'm trading and having a bad day. This right here is what makes it a bad day. It's this little stuff like this that causes, it's this little stuff right in here that I have too many entry points in a very short period of time, and then I get way too close to max daily loss quickly. So that is the reason why I'm trying to do things a little bit differently. And if you're listening this far into the recording, the answer to my live chat room, or live day trading room, I should say, not chat room, live day trading room, is 90% yes now. So I'm at the last part of securing funding right now, which is it's there. It just I have to get it into and move forward. So we're good. It's really about me wanting to do it or not. The funding has been there, to be honest. So that's my honest. It's just me. Do I want to put myself out there again to the extent that I was previously? And I'm feeling a lot better about how I can take on a trade. So, all right, so we've moved down a little bit. So let's say 67.68 is entry. And if I only had one entry today, then I'd stand a lot better opportunity. Now, a 1P move down is 45 from that point. And we went to 56. 4 more. Wait for it to come back up again, then we'll mark it. But it's went down 5 more. Let's mark that 81. So if I had my practice account, I could have followed along with this. But every so often, TST decides to get rid of something, and this time they got rid of. So we're down. What is that? 68, 55, 13 ticks. All right, so let me think here. 55, 68, 55, 13 ticks be 6 from here, right? 6 from this point. 70. So what I'm using is this back here and counting 19 ticks from what would be the break point. And I like to come in usually 1 to 2 ticks below it when I'm in, but I'm using this. So in effect, what it really is it's 2 ticks greater than where we were. So 19, what I'll have to adjust for is that would be 21 from entry point, right? Using this, and it doesn't matter what you use for trailing stop loss, it's going to hit it. And there will be days where you hit both. So 21 times 2 hitting twice at maximum. Well, maximum would be 22. My maximum loss on 2 contracts would then be 22 times 2. If it never went 1 penny my way, it would be 44 ticks. This would be max at max ADR. Or excuse me, max 1R. As I always say, max 1R is 20, but I'm going to move it to 22. So max ADR is 22. So whenever ADR is at 20, when I met max, then 22, because that'd be 22 ticks from entry. So today, ADR is 19 plus the 2 more is 21. That's today because we're at 18.8. ADR is 18.8 today. Rounds up to 19, 21. This gives me more staying power. But it also, and then you only have 1 entry point. So this is the entry from this particular trade right here. And this works when the market hasn't went 1p your way. So I gotta use that 1p. You got out and the market hasn't went 1p on your trade. So therefore you need another setup. This would have been set up 2 right here. So that'll stop me from at least having trading situations like right here where it just eats me up. This right here is what eats me up. It just hits me, get back in, hits me again. That's kind of where most of my losing days come from. They come from a period of time where very quickly I get my ass kicked. Doesn't mean I won't get my ass kicked later on in the day, but at least it takes longer to kick my ass. Oh, brother. So if it runs me out here, now once again, did we reach a 1p area? No. Therefore, I need another entry point volume bar before I would get involved again. So this is the kind of stuff. See, I'm good when I'm winning. When you're winning, it's easy. But when you're losing, it's usually because you're taking. I know how I am when I'm losing. It happens quickly, and then um, let's err to. We'll still use the prairie dog trick. It came up to 1 tick prior, and then we move up. Okay, now we use prairie dog again. Still use my prairie dog trick. How you use a prairie dog is it comes up within 1 tick, it drops down and get a red bar, and then just usually we get knocked out anyway, but sometimes the prairie dog works. Usually I look for a doji bar or a red bar to move up. There's a red bar, so prairie dog in, and I want a prairie dog above. Or we could use the latest one. So let's use 2 here. We got 79 and 81. And this would have been the line behind the line, the prior move that went down. And if we start heading back down, then we use the other one. So that got hit. Let's use the 81 and see what happens here. So this is, if I had my practice account, I keep testing. Because I know that a lot of times I'm within a tick or two, like today, I get hit here, and this happens quite a lot, more than I like to care to admit. I get involved, and then it goes. The other side of this is if it goes, if it only goes 1 tick your favor, and then heads up, then get the hell out. So usually I want to see it move something like it did today. We got in, and it went our favor to start with. Over here, this is the entry point. See, it goes our favor to start with more than 1 tick. So therefore, maybe you only take a really short loss on a 1-2 tick move that goes your favor twice. You just boom, get out, and then wait, because there's usually more business to be done, right? So now we went down. Let's get rid of this one. We're using the 81 previous, and now we can use this one here since we went down, especially if we get down here again, make that double bottom, and then we'll use this one. We'll use 1 time behind it. So that would mean that you'd hold on to 19 ticks on the initial move, looking for it to stay. Now this is something I don't think I would be willing to do. I think that I'd move down to start with and then hold. Give you a little bit more staying power. But crude oil has been a bitch since April. I can count basically on my two hands the days that have been maybe two hands and 1 foot, the days that have been favorable from the get-go without it looking back. What the crude oil market likes to do a lot is that backfilling bullshit. And you use the previous mark, so now 55. Well, it's a work in process. The object is to try to stay in the trade as best you can. And then we could utilize lines too. So R2 had not been attempted after entry point. Therefore, we know it can. Just trying to limit my entries is what it's all about, especially on a day that I'm losing. So if I lose, I'm okay with losing. I'm just trying to limit my entries and therefore give myself a better opportunity to get involved with the market. So I'm going to pause here until we either hit my stop or go down. I think this will be it for the day as far as this video content goes. Alright, so if we're using prior, we made the new low. $55. So this would be 19 ticks from 55, right? So finally go down here. That would officially put it at 74 now, because we made a new low. So we were at 81. Now we're at 74 because we made a new low. Have we reached? No, we still haven't reached. 68 was entry point. 45 is a 1P target. Alright, so we look back one, and then we hold. Once we make to a 1P target, then you're at break even. This really applies when we haven't made the 1P profit target. Once you make your 1P profit target, by the way, I'm listening to Top Step in the background. I'm not real happy with. Well, you know, Eddie and Sean are awesome. I love them. I can't speak. I mean, they're just awesome. I'm not a fan of Facebook guys and gals. In fact, this week I actually put some content on BitChute. I'm still learning about that, but it's, I don't know. Facebook, YouTube. Um, I even won't go on politics of all that stuff, so just leave it to the side. And suffice to say, I put that content up. You know, I'm not a fan of Alex Jones. Yeah, I think he's eccentric and funny at times, but you know, I'm not a fan of the Young Turks either. So I follow right in the middle. I just think that the playing ground should be fair. And if that's, you know, which it isn't, and obviously we know it's not. That anyone that is smart enough to see the disparity between the two sides. I mean, you can call a conspiracy theory on both sides of the aisle now. Just like I say, just like there's right-wing nuts, there's left-wing nuts, just as crazy as the other side. They're just as crazy. So this kept me in by looking back one previous. Doesn't mean I won't get knocked out, but hey, a lot more staying power and a lot less trades. This is kind of my thought process. I've been working out is when I'm winning, the wins and the making money is the easy part. When to take a trade off, when to do that, when you're on the win side. My biggest nemesis as a day trader has always been an area like this, where I'm trying to get back position because I got knocked out by a tick or two, especially this one. Here I am in, and boom, I get knocked out, and actually my stop was here and I got one tick favorable fill here. But if I'm sitting up here, then I stay in. That's how many times, and that doesn't mean that it won't hit that. But the point is, if it does hit this, then I would need another signal, meaning another volume bar, to get me involved in a trade that has not went 1p my favor. So like I tell you about Top Step Trader, to me, they're a big education company. And for me, where the risk is a lot less. I mean, right now, for instance, I'm down $1,000 right now, but not really. I'm only down my combine plus a reset right now. So I'm not really down 1,000. I'm only down 150 and one, what is that? 150 and 250. In most months, I'm only down about 350. Yeah, you can say 350 times 12. You can fund your own account. But the thing about that is, what if you're down 4,000 every month instead of, or you're down 1,000 every month instead of, so now all of a sudden you're saying, all right, you can fund your own account. That's 4,200 versus 12,000. So what's better? Losing 4,200, losing 350 a month, or losing 1,000 a month, let's say, or even greater on a futures account. Because I mean, I've had, unfortunately in my day trading, I've made $10, $20, $25,000 in a month, but then I've had months that I've lost 10 to 15,000. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, each one has their own way of looking at stuff. And honestly, I think the trick to a bad day, because you're going to have bad days, you just can't get around it. A day trader is going to have bad days. Days it's just simply not going to work out. Your strategy is not going to work. And no matter what you do, no matter how you curve fit it, it's really going to come down to lowering your entry points on a bad day and giving yourself the best possibility that you can to stay in the market and stay in the trade and not do what I do. So in other words, don't do as I do. Do as I'm trying to say. Be able to be wise enough to walk away on that. Because I've got to get to the point where, me personally, where I'm not taking as many trades in a short period of time. And I know that's my nemesis. That's what kicks my ass. My biggest, and it's also the biggest reason I lose, not only funded, I lose because I hit max daily loss. That when I look back at my trading, it's not the wins that that hurt me. It's the losing days where I take too much and I'm trading too quick in too short period of time. That is where most of my losses come, because it well, you know what it's about. It's called revenge trading. It's called, I can't believe the frickin' market did that to me. I'll show them. And that's what it's all about. I mean, it's pride, right? Or lack of a better way of saying, what gets in my sense more times than not is pride. How dare you? How dare you take that from me? I'll show you. I'm smarter than you, market. Yeah, right. So recognize you're going to have bad days, but try do as do as I say, not as I do, right? Don't have days where, man, this is why I haven't opened up personally a live trading room, because I have days like this right here where I'm getting my ass kicked. And honestly, this is the biggest reason why I don't, because I don't want to have people following me when I'm screwing up like this right in here. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to make myself, if I open up that live room, to make myself a better moderator where, I put myself in position, and more importantly, if someone's following along with me, they agree with my logic about how I stay away from bad trending um, areas that are just kicking my ass. So limiting my entries. I mean, honestly, that's what I have to do. I've got to. I have to limit my entries. I have to have days where I only take 3 trades on, and I lose, maybe 39 ticks, whatever. But I have three losing trades, yeah, or 2 losing trades at max loss, right? Which, like I said, max loss now is 22 times 2, 44. So if you had 2 trades at max loss, you're done for the day. That would be at max ADR. So max ADR, as you know, is, if you know anything about me, 20. We have to add the 2 from the line, so it's 22. It's 22 from the line. So if this was my entry point right here, it's 22 from entry. And then we have to think about the 1 to 2 tick entry point that goes 1 or 2 ticks your favor and then goes directly against you. So that is probably something I have to incorporate in as well. Because a lot of times, if you know anything, watch me, I sit back 4 or 5 ticks above something. So that means I should allow the market to go 4 or 5 ticks my favor. And then if it does it, then be Johnny on the spot and get rid of the trade quickly. The problem is that, if you see a market that all of a sudden you get this, it goes up a couple ticks, and then, it's like this over here. I got in here. This is my first entry, I believe, today. It went down 1 tick my favor, and then went directly against me. So right here, this is the biggest question mark that I've got. Goes down 1 or 2 ticks my favor. Where do I get out? Do I get out like right around here? Or do I stick with it? Because then if I get out with 1 or 2 ticks, then I'm getting back in around here again. And I've got that up there again. So now I've just created 2 trades right? And maybe I get knocked out again. So all of a sudden I'm the out 10, and then next one hits me at minus 20 or whatever. So this one goes my favor some. And we're coming down a little bit where we got knocked out right about there, I think, or 2 ticks higher than that. So question marks. There's still questions. You know, when something only goes 1-2 tick your favor, probably the exit door is the best place to be. So if we go lower than this, then we're coming down. Eventually, when we run a 1P target, that's when you're locking in 2 to 3 ticks. So I got the subject for my next day trading video that I'll put up. Actually, you probably see that before this one if you follow my content at all. Day trading bug with Top Step Trader, the advantages, I should say. I think I'm going to call it Top Step Trader Day Trading Bug. I'm going to make like a little, I'll make a Canva on it with a picture of something. Use Top Step Trader image and whatnot, and speak highly of why I like Top Step Trader. So why I do, you know, basically why I like spending, say, $250 to, well, averages out to about $350 on most months that I'm losing. So losing a day like this, I think, is much more easy to digest than losing quickly, at least in my humble opinion. I know I don't, wait a minute, where was it? So this area right here sucks, man. This is where most of my issues happen. Losing quickly. That's why I moved my stop up higher to start with, because I'm trying to get away from this crazy stuff. This is honestly is my biggest mistakes. If I could lose less or lose a day, but it takes longer time to do it, then I've gave myself the best opportunity to win the day. And that, humbly speaking, is probably the best way to approach trading. And I'm not saying anything new. It's just, you know, I get emotionally attached, even to this day. I still get emotionally attached as a day trader, even if it is in a sim account right now because I know that I'm going to get back to funded. It's just a matter of time when I do it, but I want to stay there. I want to stay in fund. I don't want to, I know it's all about lessening my entries and losing less on losing days. I mean, that is the key to success as a day trader. Let me restate that. So lose less on losing days. Make it take more time to lose. So more, greater time, right? Lose less on losing days. Make it take more time to lose the money. And therefore, give yourselves the best chance to catch something. And put yourself in the winning circle, right? And then when you have your losing days, which you're going to have your losing days, limit them. Limit your loss. That's the key. Now it's just about me doing what, right? Executing it, right? Executing. Because when you execute your plan, you put yourself in a better position to win those days that you should be winning. And when I look back at it, Wednesday should have been the day that I pulled out 100 ticks. Those are the days that I pride myself on normally catching, and here I am, market's heading down, and I'm trying to go it long at it. Something fundamentally wrong with the way I looked at the market that day, for sure. Pausing, waiting for the market to, if it runs a 1P that's at 45, then we'll protect the break even. And this is what the cool thing about when you do have a practice account, when I'm trying to get it back in again, is I can put it in practice mode, and then the pressure's off at that point. Once you're in practice, your pressure's off. But you've got to feel that way about not only your practice, but your funded, your combine, your FTP, step 1, step 2. You got to feel just as confident in your practice, in all the others, as you do in your practice account. My practice account, I pretty much win money in there all the time. Why is that? Because I don't feel stress. I don't let it affect me. Plus, if you hit max daily loss in the practice account, you still keep it, or at least you used to. Now I don't know where it went to again. Every so often they take it from me, and then I have to beg, plead, barter, and steal to get it back. Pause here, waiting for the market to make up its mind. In fact, I need to mow the grass, so what we'll do is I'll come back here after the fact, and I'll discuss the end of this video. Talk to you later. Alright, so let's finish this video up. This was the previous. This is 1P. The hell was that? This was 1P, which it didn't reach. Got close. We were in it for a long time. So looks like 67. We'd be at break even. As close as we are right now, this would be break even. So, alright, so this trade obviously isn't over yet, but we'll see. So we never reached 1p, and time in trade moves us to break even now, I would tell you. Maybe 71, go a couple ticks over this. Where were we previous? 74? No, I would tell you that you'd be at break even now. Maybe even 2 ticks. You would want something on this trade. You got involved in it at 10:13, and it's 2.5 hours later roughly. And you're still in it, so I guess that's how I would handle it. I'm going to pause here and then we'll see where we end up for the day. So we're at well, at the 1 o'clock mark roughly. We'll see where this closes out at 1:30 and we'll talk about it. Alright, so we're into the last 15 minutes. And a 1p target would actually be a good target with 15 minutes left into the, so basically looking at 1 to 1.5p now. That would, into close, would make it 45 to 34. So that's what I'd be hunting for, 45 to 34. And if this was a second trade, and right here would get me at positive, well, there's a 1p move right there. So let's see here. I'd be very tempted to just to take it off right here. And it being a Friday, most likely length of trade, I would have been happy at 1p right there. If this was the second trade and I was able to hold that throughout the day, and then able to knock out a 1p target for this long, yeah, I believe I'd been out. Got to think that I would have been out of this trade right around this area. I wouldn't have worried about getting out at 1.5p. Today I would have just cleared this trade out here at 1p and consider myself lucky. And if this would have been the second trade, if I would have waited and made this my second trade, I feel as though, and I record these things for my own benefit too, to go back and look so that I can learn from it. One of the things that you can't do on T4 is Friday afternoon they close up and you can't look back at charts until Sunday evening when they reopen it up. I haven't looked for the last couple of months, but you can't go back and just look at charts on a Saturday like I used to at when I was at oh God, what's the name of the company? I can't think of the dude's name now. Oh well. Not Ninja Trader, it was another, I forget, anyway, another platform. Genesis Trade Navigator, Trade Nav. You could go back and to your heart's content, you could replay trading days. Being a web-based platform that T4 is, it's beneficial for day traders, but you can't go back and look at, and replay a day or something like you could at TradeNav. Some platforms are good for that. Yeah, I would have been more than happy to take that out, considering that that this would have been if and buts were candy and nuts, and I made that my second trade. I would have been extremely happy to be able to stay in this one and then able to get out. In fact, I might have exited the trade at 1220 coming down here. Now, what did I mark? 67.50. That was the area that I got caught in right there. Yeah, this would have been a day that I'd have been just happy to be at break even and move on. So 1P gets hit before 1R stop on the second trade. So that we can say for sure. And that's about it. So I'm going to stop this video here, and then I have a subject that I want to talk about on camera, and can just some things that I want to talk about and get through it, and we'll talk to you there. But that, in a nutshell, looks like how I think I'm going to handle the trades. I'm trying to get away from, like I said, I'm trying to get away from this area right here. This area that kicks my ass. That was the area on Friday, and I can look back at pretty much every trading day that I lose big or bigger. There's a time in the trading day that I overtrade, get revenge or whatever. That's why I'm trying to work out my strategy so that I take less trades. Less is more. So give myself the ability to stay in, and especially when we don't run 1P, there's got to be another setup if you don't get 1P. And then if it does run 1P, then you think about it from, you can go 1 to 2, 2 to 3. There's other times. If the market's going to move, you can catch it. You can find another time to get in. It's kind of like a Wednesday, the market had already moved, but you can find another time. If the market wants to move, you can find time for the market, and the market will find time that you can actually make a move. I don't know if that makes any sense, but if you look back at Wednesday, it had trended down to start with, and then the report came out, and then eventually it trended down even more. Alright, that's going to do it for this video. I would have been extremely happy to get out. I certainly wouldn't want to take a loss on a trade into the close. So that's how I definitely wouldn't want to be on a loss. So if I was like down 19 ticks and I could have won 23 and been at break even right here, I would have been taking that sucker to the bank. That's for sure. Even at break even on a Friday I'd have been happy with. All right, that's it. Talk to you later. Bye now.